Thanks for joining us for the news at 10. Lori-Vallow Daybell will spend the rest of her life in prison. Judge Stephen Boyce handed down that sentence more than 2 months after a jury found the Eastern Idaho mom guilty of murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the deaths of her 2 kids, JJ and Tylee, and her current husband's late wife, Tammy Daybell.
From the moments leading up to that sentence to the moments after, today's hearing was filled with emotional and powerful statements from those who have been waiting for this day for nearly 4 years. News Channel 7's Shira Matsuzawa has been covering this case since 2019, and she was at the Fremont County Courthouse today.
Nearly 4 years. That's how long it took to get to this point. And for the families of the victims, it's a day they've been waiting and praying for. The value of a life and hope. 2 concepts highlighted in court on Monday from 2 sides of the courtroom. As both the state and the defense for Lori-Vallow Daybell recommended what her sentence should be.
What is the value of the life of a 16-year-old girl with her life ahead of her? What is the value of a life of a 7-year-old boy with special needs? What is the value of the life of a mother and a grandmother?
I think we have to think about how are we going to heal the hurt and the pain and the devastation of this case with hope.
Those recommendations coming after JJ's grandmother, Kay Woodcock, shared her love and the loss of her grandchild.
1,536. That is how many days it has been since I've seen JJ.
Kay was among those who gave a victim impact statement at Vallow's sentencing hearing. In May, a jury found Vallow guilty of murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the deaths of her 2 kids, JJ and Tylee, and her current husband's late wife, Tammy Daybell. Tammy's sister, Samantha Gwilliam, choked up as she shared how she misses her sister every day.
I will always remember them. As for you, I choose to forget you.
Her aunt, Vicki Hoban, also getting emotional.
She was taken from us by murdering thieves.
And while the families of the victims painted the court with their pain, Vallow addressed the court for the first time.
One of the times that Tylee came to me as a spirit after she died, she commanded me, and she said to me, "Stop worrying, Mom. We are fine." She knows how I worry and how I miss her. The first time JJ visited me, after he passed away, he put his arm around me and he said to me, "You didn't do anything wrong, Mom."
Immediately after, Judge Stephen Boyce shared his thoughts.
I don't think to this day you have any remorse for the effort and heartache you caused for others who looked for your children when you knew where they were and knew they were dead.
Then sentenced Vallow to 5 life terms in prison without parole. After the sentencing, like he has from the start of this case, JJ's grandpa, Larry Woodcock, addressed the media. This time, filled with relief.
It's time to heal. It's time to get past this. It's time for us, to everybody, to look out for everybody else.
And for those in the community and across the country who have been following this case closely, Monday's sentencing was also closure for them.
I'm just here to watch Lori get what she deserves.
Just happened, happened so close to home. It's kind of like seeing history.
Prosecutor Rob Wood also read a statement on behalf of Colby Ryan. He's the oldest and only surviving child of Lori Vallow. After the hearing, Annie Cushing, Tylee's aunt, also sent me a statement. She called it therapeutic, and she adds that this is bringing them one step closer to being able to focus on healing. In Fremont County, Shira Matsuzawa, Idaho's News Channel 7.
Powerful statement from Annie that we received tonight. Although Vallow will spend the rest of her life in prison, we're not even halfway through the trials in this case. The trial of Lori's 5th husband, Chad Daybell, is set for next spring here in Boise, just as Lori's was.
And Chad faces 3 counts of first-degree murder as well, and 3 counts of conspiracy to commit murder in the deaths of JJ, Tylee, and Tammy. Abby Davis talked with a local defense attorney about whether Lori's sentencing today could impact Chad's trial.
Well, during Lori's trial, attorney David Leroy says her defense saw about 80% of the trial the state might use in Chad's trial. He says both sides have a good idea about what worked and what didn't.
Life imprisonment with no possibility of parole.
Now that lori-vallow's sentencing is over,
I thought it was a very proud moment for Idaho jurisprudence.
it's time to look ahead to her co-defendant and fifth husband, Chad Daybell's trial. Chad is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy in the deaths of Lori's children, J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan, and his late wife, Tammy Daybell. He's also charged with insurance fraud and grand theft related to their deaths. Chad's trial is set to start April 1st, 2024 in Ada County. How do you think the decision today will affect Chad's case going forward?
I think it will give the defense lawyers in Chad's case more data points upon which to ponder what their best choices are.
Former Idaho Attorney General and defense attorney Dave Leroy says the death penalty is still on the table, although both sides could come up with a plea agreement.
These are dreadful crimes and may be fully deserving of the death penalty if someone is convicted of the allegations. So it's hard to guess that the prosecutor would be open to that possibility.
If Chad's case does go to trial, Leroy says there will be a lot of crossover from what was said during Lori's.
Chad himself is charged with the homicide of his wife. Lori was not charged with that homicide. She was merely charged with the conspiracy. So the evidence as to Tammy will be new and will be different in some particulars. The rest of the case, except for the grand theft of the child's money, should be identical.
It's the thought of hearing and seeing all that evidence again that makes Vicki Hoban nervous. She's Tammy's aunt.
It just is an assault on your heart, on your brain, on just everything. It's like opening a wound.
Hoban says she's not sure what to think about a possible plea deal.
I would like to not have to go through it again, and I, at the same time, almost think living your life in prison is worse than the death penalty. I don't know how I feel about it.
To clarify what I said earlier, I was talking about Chad's defense team. His defense attorney, John Pryor, was at most of Lori's trial. Leroy says Pryor will be looking at any possible holes in the prosecution's arguments. He also says it's important that people remember Chad is innocent until proven guilty. Even though a judge sentenced Lori in Idaho, she also has 2 additional conspiracy to commit murder cases in Arizona. So that's also important to remember.
Right. She's been indicted on one of those. And Abby, it's interesting too, because Gene Fisher, who we've interviewed many times, former chief deputy prosecutor of Ada County, told me several months ago during Lori's trial that actually a lot of people haven't paid attention to this case. We have, because we're in media and people that consume this, but there are quite a few people in Ada County that they're going to find, and it's difficult when they go through jury selection to find those people that haven't had any media exposure, but there are going to be people that haven't seen this case play out.
Bigger pool in Ada County.
Exactly. All right, Abby, thank you.